see our way back into Perth this morning and see whether we can get on that submarine tour, eh?
Now the Oberons, they're 89.9 metres long and a bit over 8 metres in peak, and they displace just under 2,200 tonnes on the surface and a bit over 2,400 tonnes submerged. And they're diesel electric boats, but unlike wartime boats, the diesels are purely for charging the batteries, and they don't provide any motive power whatsoever. Two propellers are driven by electric motors the whole time. They gave her a surface speed of about 15 knots and a submerged speed of about 17. Okay, well, where we're standing is the casing, and this is the working deck when the boat's on the surface. As you can see, it's quite narrow, it's not a great deal of room, and there's only a single guardrail. It's portable, it simply unclips from the deck, so when the boat goes to sea it will be dismantled. Now they can carry up to 24 torpedoes in here, including the 6 in the tubes. And the other torpedoes will be in these racks on either side of us. And there's some torpedoes in lower racks here, so you can see how they are carried. The deck we're standing on is portable, would normally be down at a lower level, but they could bring it up to this level for servicing the torpedoes in the upper racks. Now when she was first commissioned, she was equipped with the Mark 8 torpedo. And the Mark 8s, they were designed and built in the UK in the early 1930s. They were built in the States under licence. They were in service for many years. They were used in the Falklands War in 1982 quite successfully. Each bunk got a reading light, air blower for ventilation, and of course curtains. Now when I say this is where they lived, I mean that literally. There's no such things as dining rooms or lounges on these boats. They weren't working, this is where they ate their meals, or tried to, perched somewhere, spent the leisure time and of course slept. Now the routines varied between the boats. 3 and 6 was a fairly common one, so that 1/3 of the crew were always on watch during a normal situation. But of course, as you heard, that could be varied at any time. Now, we're inside the pressure hull here, of course, which is circular. So the deck we're standing on is about halfway. So there's another compartment beneath us, another deck if you like. Now all the power on the boat, all the electricity has got to be stored somewhere. So there are 2 battery compartments. One of those is beneath us, and the other one is underneath the control room. Each of those compartments contain 224 lead acid cells. That's a total of 448. And that's sufficient to run the boat for about 3 days without recharging. Or perhaps give you a better idea of the capacity, sufficient to run 3 suburban homes for 12 months. So quite a big capacity. That's the kitchen in there. Not very big, is it? Would you two like to stand in there, make a bit more room? You can stand there without having to duck.
That's a pretty small
Yeah,
kitchen.
that's right.
It is, isn't it? One cooker.
There's your bunk down there, is it?
Well, when I was a junior sailor, I slept in the forward mess, the after mess, and the senior sailors mess on this boat.
Oh, you got it around a bit.
Yeah, I did. Oh, and in the passageway just out there.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
so I
What was
ended
it
up.
like in the passage? Was it?
Oh, it was very noisy.
Very.
It was a thoroughfare. It was the main thoroughfare.
Yeah.
And I lived on the top outside the wardroom.
Yeah.
And it was a pain. And I lived there for about 18 months.
To provide weight. Then they put the rest of the rubbish in on top, close the bag up. Then the bags, they could fit 3 of them into this gas ejector here, and then they'd be ejected out into the seabed. They didn't want any rubbish floating to the surface because that would give away their position. And if they're operating in hostile waters, that's not a good thing. All right, well, this is obviously the control room. Now there'll be 13 people on duty in here, so you can see it'll be fairly crowded. Up in the far corner is where the sonar operators sat with the monitors. On the middle there, in front of those 2 screens, is where the torpedo operators sat. They fire the torpedoes from the 2 panels above, and the bottom left-hand corner of each panel, you can see there's a little lever. That's how they guided the torpedoes, right?
Well, you know, the sonar system
Yeah.
gets the information, processes it through the computer, and then it puts it through onto the screen.
Yeah.
And then the little knobs down the bottom, the 4 knobs down the bottom,
Yeah.
you would twiddle them. One was for speed, one was for range, one was for course, and you'd have a stack of dots that you'd have
Yeah.
to put onto a line, and that would give you a solution.
Yeah.
And then once you got the solution, you would then set the solution on the computer, and then it would send that by a tone down to the torpedo, the range, course, and speed of the contact.
Right.
And then when you fired it, that was already in the computer, and you would let it go. And the only reason you would update it is if you got a better solution in the meantime.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Otherwise, the torpedo would actually find it and prosecute it himself.
Yeah. Right. That's the radar mast. That's the DF mast. The snort mast with a big ball valve on top. The tall one's the communications mast. The little one, the end, is the exhaust and the diesels. Now, normally when they use the mast, they just poke them just far enough above the surface to be effective. They keep the speed down to about 4 or 5 knots because, for 2 reasons. They don't want to create a wash like this, and B, the drag of the mast through the water affects the trim. It tends to lift the bow up. So they keep the speed down for those reasons.
This room would get super hot, would it? Like with all these controls and all that? No. Okay.
Engine condition.
Engine room got stinking.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Only after the
After shutdown, there's no airflow through the engine room.
Now over here,
Stand up like good.
these big
Yeah,
brass
just
handles. Just behind you. These big brass handles, these are the main ballast valves. Now, to dive, they'd open these valves, which would open the vents top of the ballast tanks. Water would rush in through the bottom inlets and the boat would submerge. To surface, they close these valves, and then with these they blow compressed air into the tanks to force the water out through the bottom so the boat would surface. These are the engines, big diesel engines. What do you think about that, Bradley? 60.
What
16-cylinder engine, another 16-cylinder engine here.
Yeah, it doesn't smell as bad as it used to.
Okay, these 2 diesels, they are 16-cylinder 4-stroke supercharged diesels. And they're what's known as Admiralty pattern. They're not a commercial design, they're designed and built especially for this class of submarine. Each one drives a dynamo or generator which is at the end of the engine underneath the deck. Unfortunately, we can't go down to see them. Likewise, the 2 main electric motors which are fitted directly to the 2 propeller shafts, they're further down underneath the deck. There's also a workshop down there where they have a small lathe and other equipment so they can carry out some of their own repairs. Now, the normal routine was to come up to periscope depth every 24 hours to top up the batteries to keep them fully charged. And that would take roughly an hour and a half. They come up to periscope depth, put up the snort mast, and then they'll be able to start these 2 diesels. They cannot start these diesels without the snort mast being up. Now, these diesel engines, excuse me, they suck in large quantities of air when they're running. So the air duct from the snort mast is taken right forward to the forward torpedo room where we came on board. So with these diesels running, sucking air in, they're drawing air through the length of the boat. So they're getting a change of air in the boat and also removing hydrogen gas, which is given off from the cells during the recharging process. Now, obviously there's other equipment in here. You've got 2 air compressors for recharging the air storage bottles, and you've got the usual pumps and other equipment required for the domestic running of the boat. There's also 2 centrifugals for filtering too. The crew literally packed their bags over at Garden Island. She was towed over here.
Is that right?
This
Oh,
week. That's why you still got the condiments in the galley there.
Is that right?
Yeah. Okay. Now this is the electrical control room. Now there'll be 2 electricians on duty here all the time. And from here they control and monitor all the electrical equipment in the boat. And they also control the 2 main motors driving the boat. They would get their engine movements from the control room or 2 telegraphs, port and starboard. They acknowledge the telegraph and then adjust the motor as required. As you head the stern switch with the port motor and this wheel, by turning it backwards or forwards, you either increase or reduce the revs on the motor. And exactly the same on the other side. You've got your rev indicators just above and your volt and amp meters above there.
Gosh, this looks a bit bare. Used to be $3 there and $3 there.
Plenty of space.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing that photo. Oh, what's
2 torpedo tubes there. But once they got the wire-guided torpedoes, they could literally turn around 180 degrees if necessary, they became superfluous. So they've been blanked off, but the main equipment's still there. The open manhole was a tank where they would drain the water down into after firing a torpedo. Now all those levers and the motor you see around it, they're for the steering and the after hydroplanes. They're hydraulically operated and in an emergency they can be pumped by hand. So at the side next to them there's a gyro compass repeater and depth and trim indicators. So in an emergency they could control the submarine from down here. Awesome.
We'd never want to do it.
No. Now these boats were designed to, had a design depth of, operating depth of 200 metres, with a maximum design depth of 300 metres. Now when you think the submarines in the Second World War days, for instance, 100 to 150 metres was the usual limits, and some boats couldn't even go deeper than about 70 metres, so it's quite an increase in size, in depth. Now to achieve those depths, the pressure hull was about 25 mils thick, it's about an inch thick. And you can see the thickness of the pressure hull here, where it's been cut through for the hatchway. See how thick it is all the way around. In addition to which, it's supported inside by T-frames. They run all the way around inside, a bit like a rib. So there's a T-frame inside this cork insulation. Now deep water is quite cold, so it's there to help reduce, the cork insulation is there to reduce condensation. Now where they cut through for a hatchway, they have to support the ends of the T-frame with this very heavy hatch coaming running around. In addition to which, they put strong backs across between those pads to support the sides of the hatchway against the enormous pressures at those depths. They're very important. They're always in position unless the boat's in port on the surface and they wish to use the hatchway. They're never removed otherwise. And those are the strong backs you see on the deck there. You can see how solid and heavy they are. And they just hook over the top of the pad and they rest between the opposing pads. Now, one of the things they used to do in the days when they had copper pennies, are you guilty of one of them doing all of this? They used to slip a copper penny up between
20 cent, 20, used to slip a 20
yeah,
cent piece.
yeah. They used to slip a copper penny up between the pad and the strong back, and after a dive, the pressure would have flattened that penny to a thin copper wafer. And they give that to somebody as a souvenir, just completed their first dive. Now, when decimal currency came in, there was a shortage of copper pennies. So they put 10 cent, 5 cent pieces up there. And you can the nickel coins are much harder than copper, and they're actually harder than the steel pad, and they've left an imprint in the pad. And you can see quite clearly, it's a 10, you can see the 10 cent, that's the 5 cent next to it. When you go up the ladder, you can have a closer look at it. I can't think of a more graphic illustration of pressure at those depths.
The other thing we also used to do is we used to get down to 600 feet and the tie a string across the control room.
Yeah.
And then we come back up again and the string would break.
Yeah, well, you've got those 2 brackets there by hand.
You can clearly see the 10.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
back to the real world. Yes.
What's your name again?
Richard.
And it's funny because it reminds me how often.
At 400 metres into roundabout.
Well, what do you think of the submarine tour? Wasn't bad, was it? We just on the outskirts of Mandurah. That's the Peel Inlet. Goes into a dirty, great big lake in there. And yes, it wasn't bad. There was a chappie who's taking the tour used to serve on the Ovens, which was the HMAS Ovens, which was the name of the submarine. There's a chappie there on the tour who actually served on it, so he knew a bit more than what the tour guide knew, eh? Well, after a surprisingly eventful day, we're camped near Preston Beach. There's a little national park there that I cannot pronounce. What do we got? You're writing this down, Rex? Macaroni and cheese. Put in a little tin of green peas, sweet chilli, bit of soy sauce, bit of black pepper, and it's not bad. I got some rolls here. Some deluxe rolls. Yes. I'm surprised to learn my video camera's given up the ghost. Hey dear. So I thought, oh well, kill or cure. But I reckon this might have to be the last trip with this video camera. I'm going to have to get another one. She's had the Richard. Yeah, it was playing up something shocking on the tour of the submarine. So I got to it with a hacksaw and a pair of side cutters, and I put a bit of glue in and a bit of sticky tape. So we'll see how we go. We'll see how we go. It's that perfect time of day, Jack. The sun's just setting. This is 100 metres from where I'm camped, mate. Little inland lake here. We'll catch you in the morning. Good morning, Jack. It's a little bit windy here this morning, mate. We're at Preston Beach and the surf's up, mate. Come and look at that digger. It was so windy, Jack, it blew me hat off, all right?
My week lifts off with Mac on a Sunday morning.
Good morning and welcome to the program. I've just got off on the program this morning. In just a little while, we'll talk to John Olsen, who's waiting for us out there in the desert somewhere.
Making our way down to the end of the jetty at Rustleton. Unitedly, the longest wooden jetty in the southern hemisphere. D-yard out Port Pirie, but he's been damaged a bit over the years and they put a concrete the water. There's an intrepid fisherman here. He's holding his going against the wind and he's catching very little. What do we get today? Not much.
Dave Warden, are you still out there, Dave? Dave Warden, that's what the sea looked like when I rounded Ward Spit on that rough day. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. About what the wind felt like too. The underwater observatory, and Jenny lives down there. And he climbed down those steps there. They said, Vinnie Clement. I know what they mean. Are you around the other way? I'm standing at the end of the jetty at Brusselton, reputedly the longest wooden jetty in the southern hemisphere. And yeah, it's a long walk out here, Rex. Why do we do it, mate? Why do we do it? There's a few fishermen out here this morning. Why do they do it, Mick? Bloody hunters and collectors. Why do they do it, mate? And if we zoom right in, that's where the jetty starts. They got a bit of a theme park out there. Sorry about the camera juddering around a bit, but there's no protection out here. There's no protection out. Mick's having a bit of a giggle here when I said that, aren't you, mate? Anyway, we're at the end of the Brusselton jetty. And I suppose we've got to walk back now, eh? We're on our way up now to Cape Naturalist on Geographe Bay. Yeah, a lot of French sounding names along here after the Bodine expedition. Along with Flinders, went naming a lot of the things on the coast of Australia. Yeah, a bit just disappointing about the Brusselton jetty being, or the observatory at the end of the jetty being closed, but a bit wild out there, wasn't it, eh?
My name is Karma, and I'll be your guide. If you have any questions, please ask along the way. If I can answer them, I will. It wasn't an easy life. They used to work 365 days of the year. They had the 4 hours at night, the 4 hours in the day. After 2 years, they got 6 weeks off, which they didn't get paid for. If they were healthy and sound after their 6 weeks, they were reassigned for 2 years. And I think they earned about £100 a year. The wind speed was actually 36 earlier today. Please take a seat if you wish. We'll be here for a little while. Sit yourself down or stand if you prefer. Make yourselves at home. These stairs are worth noting. They're made of teak, and they were made in Birmingham also, even though the teak came from Burma. They actually cut out each square individually with the grain facing upwards for extra strength, and then they downed them back together again to create a wonderful invention known as non-skid surface. Okay. They also made the steps so that when they wore smooth on the top, they could turn them over and use the other side, and they've never been turned since they were placed there. Apparently they didn't make a lot of wooden staircases, the Chance brothers, because it was too time consuming. They just made a few and then went back to metal. The crystal upstairs, as I mentioned earlier, has been designed and cut in a certain way, certainly to get our 2 white flashes, but also it focuses the light into one place, to one point, and then beams it out to sea in a single beam. It goes out 46 kilometres, which to our eyes would be about the horizon line. When Max Nethery retired in 1997, they replaced him with this light sensor up here, that green and orange plastic apparatus, which just simply works on the light that comes through the window. So when the sun goes down at night and dark, light gets turned on, and in the morning vice versa. Hopefully we all fit. Sorry about the crowd. They all came in at once through the gate down there. So if you get a chance, get nice and close to the perspex. Perhaps we can swap around after that. And look up into the manhole when it comes around. And you'll see the light up inside, and you'll certainly see the crystal lens. The crystal up there that you can see, that was part of the original that came out from Birmingham. It's valued today at about $6 million. We don't need to worry about anyone putting it under their arm and running off with it though. These brass shutters, I just mentioned them before we go outside, they were installed because, again, originally, when it was a flame, they couldn't open the door here because it would blow out. Even the downstairs door was a threat. So these shutters open into a cavity out there. There's a brass compass on the roof up there, which you can only see if you've got your back on that wall and look up through the squares, or when we get out in the balcony you can see it. So the compass is attached to the weather vane on the roof. They would look up and see which way the wind was blowing, because they couldn't open the door to see. And they didn't have the weather station downstairs. And they would just open these shutters on the opposite side of the wind, and that would draw the fumes out.
Windy out here this morning for you, Jack. So there you are, Jack. What do you think of Cape Naturalist Light, mate? She's not bad, is it? Here we are. Lighthouse, Cape Naturalist, Western Australia. Well, I didn't expect to get a lighthouse tour at Cape Naturalist, but it was good to be able to go up and see the light. And it's fairly windy from the top. Sorry about the wind noise, Jack, but it's a nice view from up there, eh? Just out of Yellingup is a little cave called Nagilgi Cave, and we're going to have a look at that, eh?
Now, most people take about an hour to go through, but if you want to stay a little longer, that's fine, it's not a problem at all. Now, Nilgi Cave is a very big cave. The entrance is about 50 metres across here, but the cave is all under here, even out beyond the car park. So it's a very, very big network. But today, you'll see about 1/3 of it. You'll walk about 1 kilometre in distance. And the good or bad news is you go up and down 702 steps.
Beautiful, isn't it? Very delicate looking. Very delicate looking. There's a fracture there.
Exit that way.
They've got some, what do they call it, a ribbon there, and they've got some more over there, and everywhere you look you've got stalactites and stalagmites. All very good, isn't it? Very pretty and delicate, isn't it? They got a large stalactite here. They reckon it's around about 2 tons. Because they've got a stalagmite on the bottom and a stalactite up top.
Sorry about the wind noise, Jack. This is a place called Canal Rocks, and we're facing into the full force of the Indian Ocean here, and we got some dirty great big waves coming in here, Jack. Have a look at this one, mate. She's a whopper. Old Dave Wharton would like to go out in that, wouldn't you, mate? The lens is getting a bit spotty with the spray here, Jack. I can't leave her on much longer. Woo-hoo! This is still the same place, Jack. There's a few waves coming here. This is a place called Canal Rocks. And you can walk out to the end there, but I decided against that because a few of the waves will be splashing up water up out there. But, there's a fair surf running in here today, Jack. Here's another one coming in for you, mate. Over she comes. It comes just down here. Goes through there. See that? Your little boat would get in trouble in there, Jack, wouldn't it, mate? Oh dear, oh dear. And we're getting salt on the lens again. I don't know how that happens. Cleaned the lens a minute ago and it's all salted up again. Oh well, never mind. Yeah, I cleaned off the lens so you can have another look. There's a nice big one coming in here now for you, Jack. Here he comes. Wheelie dooly. That's not bad, is it, mate? The sea's bubbling around here today, digger. And she comes swirling along here. And through there. Few waves breaking over there too, Jack. She's a rough old day here today. There we are, Canal Rocks, Western Australian coast, on a quite rough day. Morning, Jack. We're at Yellingup. We spent the night here in the caravan park. And a little sign on the outside of the caravan park saying it's the best located caravan park in Western Australia. Well, there you go. There you go. Nice surf running here this morning, Jack. The caravan park I stayed in
He's just up there. Alright? Alright? Caravan boat's just up there. So just walk down here in the morning to hear what all the surf was running this last night. I could hear this all last night, Jack. I know you like to see the sea. I know you like to see the seaside, Jack. So that's not bad, is it, mate? Not bloody bad at all, eh? That's not bad. Bloody beautiful. There's some more waves coming in for you there, Jack. We're standing at the end, or the mouth of the Margaret River. This is where the Margaret River meets the sea. Little town here called Pinelli. And I'll go up on that headland up there and I'll show you those waves. They're absolutely magnificent. They're not bad, are they, Jack? Yes, quite something, aren't they, Jack? Actually, the whole coast along here is absolutely magnificent. Very, very touristy. Very picturesque. We're going to have another little look at a little cave called Cardup Cave, and we'll see what we see. Yeah, Cardup Cave is a wet cave, or what they call a wet cave. We come in from up there, and there's all water down here. You see all the straws and everything hanging down from the roof. It's a little bit different from some of the other caves too, in that they don't light it up. We're lighting up, you Wally. We're lighting up everything with the torch, which is a little bit different, eh? You hear dripping water all around you. We've got a little stream trickling away back further. This is flowstone. Of course, water running out, and of course evaporating, leaving its deposits behind. Looking up to the ceiling, we've got a lot of little straws coming down. Bit hard to do this with the torch. You see him hanging down there. Absolutely magnificent. Have a look at the drop of water on the end of that straw. Anyway, as we climb out here, we must leave Cardup Cave, and we'll continue on.
Lake Cave is down there. We're not even a third of the way down yet, so you've got a little ways to go yet. Lake Cave is the deepest cave in Western Australia. Jewel Cave down south of us is the biggest. Mammoth is north. We've got a whole lot of caves throughout this area in a limestone ridge that runs between the two capes, Cape Lewin in the south and Cape Naturalist in the north. It's about 120 kilometres, and in total we've got about 200 caves throughout this area. Lots of steps for you, mate. Everything that you see is made from calcite. The first features that form are these little cave straws here. Cave straws are hollow in the middle so they can let water go through them, about the same diameter as a drinking straw, and the longest one of them in the world is 6.4 metres long in Arizona. This is called the wishing well. It's dripping very quickly from up above there and dripping way too fast to form into a stalagmite. Stalagmites like that one over there have to have very slow dripping. So this is dripping really fast, forming into this great big piece of flowstone, and that big one over the back there would have been formed the same way, and it's built itself right up to the roof of the cavern. Just beside it are the crystal pools. Now, if you don't see all of this now, on the way back, I'll stand here with the torch and show it to you again if you don't get to see it. There's little tiny shrimp things, like about the size of a pinhead. They actually live in a silk. They were put in here in 1985. They're native to the area, but they're not native to the cave itself. On a hardness scale of 1 to 10, where diamond is 10, this only rates at about level 3, and your fingernails are 2.5, so it's barely much stronger than your fingernails. If you had good strong nails, you'd be able to scratch it. So it's too soft to use for construction or jewellery or anything like that. When you look at it, it's just a white agate type stone, discolouring because we keep handling it all the time. And I'll pass this around for you so that you can feel it. But remember, it is a heavy stone, so don't drop it on your toe. Okay, now I need to get to light switches behind you.
Well, I thank you for a visit to Lake Cave.
A pleasure, sir. Come again.
Well, we're out of the caves now for a while. There's one more cave we've got to go and see. It's called Jewel Cave, apparently. It's the biggest and the best and the World Heritage listed one. We're going through the big Kauri forests here near, where are we? We're going down to Cape Llewellyn. Tall timber here. I'll give you a strong tip. Don't let Jim loose in here with a chainsaw. You'd have this lot down before you put your tent up. Beautiful and quiet out of here. In amongst the tall kauris. These kauris are around about 100 years old. The area here was cleared around the 1900s. And this is all regrowth. Nice straight timber, isn't it? Beautiful peace and quiet. Listen to the birds too. Nice kauri tree. It is a nice drive along here through the forest. But really, you can't see the forest for the trees, can you? There's all these trees in the way. Spoiling the view. Spoiling the view.
Just above us, can we see this little hole up here? So this is called a solution pipe, and this is from a tree root as well, just like these kauri tree roots here. And what's happened here is the trees died and the roots rotted away, And this hole's gotten a little bit bigger by water coming down and eroding the sides and a little bit of a wind draft as well. And this is actually the original entrance to the cave. So if you're in this place about 60 years ago, this is how you would have entered the cave. Little rope round your waist, little candle or a really weak torch, and down you come. Now the first guy who came down here was called Cliff Spackman, and that was back in 1957. And he did just that, tied a rope around his waist, and his mates lowered him down. And unfortunately for Cliff, the rope wasn't long enough. So he was just left dangling around this little area. And he called for his mates to lift him up. And when he got up there, he said, I think there's a really big cave down here. Let's get a longer rope and have a little explore. Call these ones the organ pipes, and you can see they're this beautiful orangey colour. And when the water was in here, it would have been a great place for Phantom of the Opera. So from here, we're just going to walk down this way. I'll go first. Really nice little area here, and there's lots and lots of different formations that I'd like to show you. Now remember how heavy that piece of crystal calcite we picked up was at the start? Close to about 2 kilos and about the size of our pendulite there. So remembering that these straws are hollow in the middle, imagine how strong this crystal calcite is to hold onto this at the end. So what's happened here is the straw's grown underwater. You can see the level where the water's come up, where it's brown. And when a straw grows underwater, this is what you get, the pendulite. It's beautiful. I love the colours in it. Oh, this would be very butane. So now we're in Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. And this is our giant butterscotch. Like I said, everything's got food names in here. What's it called? The giant butterscotch. And you can see it's got this beautiful white at the top, and it just fades into all these caramels and browns. A turkey, I think, a Christmas turkey. And this is just another little cabin full of haloctites and interesting little formations on the ceiling. Now, about 600 years ago, a little possum fell down that solution pipe that we all saw at the start today, and had a bit of a rough landing, but managed to survive it and have a wander through the cave. And he ended up in the next cabin up there where he died. And he probably died because, well, A, there was no way out, but B, there's no food in here for a little possum. There's no plants, there's no insects, anything like that. So because in this cave we've got 97% humidity and a very constant air temperature throughout the year, about 18.5 to 19 degrees, he's very well preserved with his bones. All the skin's rotted away and all the fur, so it wouldn't have smelt very nice in here about 600 years ago. But the bones are still really well intact. And the funny thing about this possum is he's 20% bigger than the ones that we have today. Well, here we are, back where we started. So did everybody like the cave? Very good. Yeah, excellent. You're welcome, my pleasure. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay here in Margaret River, and take some of your photos and your memories with you, because like I said, it is the largest cave in the southwest and definitely one of the most stunning.
Yes, well, I'm just about caved out. I've had enough of caves for a little while. We're down here just about at Cape Llewellyn, and we're going to see if we can get on one of these lighthouse tours at Cape Llewellyn. Cape Llewellyn is the bottom bit of Western Australia, the bottom left-hand bit. It's the bit where the Southern Ocean becomes the Indian Ocean. So when we leave here, we don't have to worry about the Indians anymore. Old John Wayne can get on his horse and ride off into the sunset. There's Cape Llewellyn up there. You see the water rolling in there, Jack. Beautiful, beautiful seascapes all along here, Jack. It puts South Australia to shame a little bit. It's bordering on bloody magnificent all the way along here.
So welcome to Cape Lord. This is regarded as one of the most dangerous capes in the world. For 7 kilometres all around the cape there's a granite shelf, just 20 metres deep is the maximum depth of the water. Winds up to 170 kilometres an hour have been recorded here. It's officially the windiest place in Western Australia. Although when they said that was a couple of weeks ago, we had International Lighthouse Day. We celebrated that here. When he was talking about the windiest place, the flags were just hanging limp. So, as I say, a couple of weeks ago, we've probably had about 6 or 7 days since then where it's just been calm. So we might lose that title, maybe.
How windy was it yesterday?
Yesterday, I actually wasn't round here yesterday. Where was I? Wasn't too bad. I know where I was. I was moving house. So I'd probably preferred the bird work. But it can be a totally different ballgame when you turn that corner. Not that Augusta is without wind. We get wind there as well. But some days in the morning especially, it's calm as anything in Augusta. Turn the corner and raging sort of gale. Yeah. So 23 shipwrecks just around this cape alone. So 1881 they decided to build a lighthouse here. Didn't happen for 15 years because they were a little bit short of money. We were colonies then, so the other states weren't interested in helping, nor was England. So 1890 they were finding gold in the state by then, so then they got a bit of money together. So there was Morris Davies was exporting timber from Flinders Bay in Augusta and also from Hamilton Bay. So depending on the direction of the storms, he could usually work one of the other jetties. So he won the contract to build the lighthouse, brought in his partner Wishart. They'd done work together before. They'd done a section of the Adelaide to Melbourne railway line. After this project they'd done the Alexandra Bridge across the Blackwood River. So the Blackwood River is the longest river in southern Western Australia, 400 kilometres long. Not quite as long as the Duna, but not a bad sort of river. I think it's the most constantly flowing river in Western Australia too. Some of the ones up north are bigger, but they don't flow all the year. So they got started here in 1895 in December. October 1896 the light was working. So just 10 months. About 120 people working on the site. They had to quarry their own limestone from just 2 kilometres north of us. This inside diameter remains the same all the way up, just the outside wall tapers. It's all solid blocks. Each block was made for its particular position, brought over by a horse and dray, and then block and tackle and horses haul the blocks up. So an internal scaffold, get to each floor level, put the floor in, and they could build off the floor. So there's a floor level about every 6.5 metres, all the way up. So up until 1982 it was a kerosene lantern at the top that lit the lenses. So that meant every second night they had to take 32 litres of kerosene to the top, carry it up, and every 2 hours throughout the night rewind these counterweights up. Because the mechanism at the top is like a giant grandfather clock with 2 counterweights, and that turns the lenses around the light. Now that's still there, but because there's no lighthouse keepers now to pull the curtains around during the day to protect the lenses from the sun, because they were stationary during the day up until 1982. Now to stop that effect of the sun damaging the glass through the heat build-up, they're left turning 24 hours a day now. So they're turning 24 hours a day. Tonight, just before dark, a light sensor will turn the light on. At dawn, it'll turn it off. So they're non-stop now, 24 hours a day turning. Done something like about 110 million revolutions. Still got the original bearings. So this is where they have their handle to wind these counterweights up. Something about that big. Saw a picture of it the other week. So every 2 hours they have to wind those counterweights back up. So there's 250 kilogram blocks of lead, one at the bottom, one at the top. Took about 10 minutes to wind them back up into position. Now there's this little half horsepower motor is turning the lenses. There's a backup motor as well. So this was the first lighthouse in Australia that had the lenses sitting in a bath of mercury. So mercury being very dense, those lenses are just about floating. So I've still got the original bearings. They've only had to top up the mercury once in 112 years. If you turn this little half horsepower motor off, which is turning 3.5 tonne, 3/4 an hour later those lenses will still be spinning. So every lighthouse along this coast has got a different sequence of the flashes of light. This particular lighthouse has got a single flash every 7.5 seconds. So then when you look at your chart, see a lighthouse that's got 7.5 seconds between the flash, it's Cape Leeuwin Lighthouse, and it'll tell you it's 56 metres above mean tide level, and then they could calculate their distance out from the lighthouse.
There's the little people down the bottom, Jack, walking around. It's in a very pretty location down here, Jack. Just turn around here, that's just take you up here. There's the light up there, Jack. We come around the other side. It's on a narrowest bit of land down here. A bit windy here for you. It's not bad, is it, Jack? Once again, we've got some people standing down here.
So if you get the right foot on the green and the left foot on the red.
I have them covered in 4.
We're down here at the moment at Cape Llewellyn, and it's where the two oceans meet. We've got the Southern Ocean down there, and we've got the Indian Ocean over there. And if you look very carefully, you can see the Indian Ocean is a little bit greener than the Southern Ocean. See that? See a little line down there. There it is. I'm standing at the southwestern corner of Western Australia. Now when I left Pirie, I promised Jack I was going to throw $50 into the water here. Here we go, Jack. $50 here, mate. I'm going to screw it up and throw it into the water. Nah, better not. Better not. It's cost me too much to get here, Jack. But have a look at this. Isn't this bloody magnificent, mate? Have a look. You like looking at that stuff, don't you, Jack? Well, see, there's the lighthouse up there, all right? We was up the top of that. We was up the top of that looking down here, wasn't we? But anyway, all good things come to you, Waits. Right, as the waves come in, we're going to leave Cape Llewellyn and we're going to start heading east. I think he said on the tour that they consider Cape Llewellyn to be a very windy place. Well, that's true. The original cottages were here, and they've actually early on, or later on, they actually closed in all the verandas here, which would have made them a bit more weatherproof for the windy weather. But yeah, it's fairly overcast today, and the sea's running pretty well, but it wasn't as windy as yesterday. Wasn't as windy as yesterday. You saw that yesterday. Where were we? Where were we? Canal Rocks. You saw that at Canal Rocks. That was quite exciting, wasn't it? We're just about toured out today. We're going to... you notice I didn't take my hat. Didn't take my hat in the tour. Didn't want to lose it. Hat's valuable, isn't it, Jack? Yeah, we're just about toured out today. We're going to have a good kip tonight. Yeah. We're going to have a damn good kip tonight, I think. Good morning, it's another day. We're just down from the lighthouse. The lighthouse is up there. And when I was on the lighthouse tour, he said, oh, there's a water wheel down here. And the water wheel it was fed from a spring. They got a natural spring just up there. And the water wheel they used to feed the water along here in a wooden trough. And it used to turn a wheel here. And the reason why they did this was so they could pump water up to the lighthouse, which is up there. So the water used to run over the wheel, turn the wooden wheel, and it used to pump water up and down in there and pump water to the lighthouse out of there. But it's still flowing. It's still flowing. There's still a trickle of water coming out of there. See that? But the old calcium content of the water was a little high, and it's sort of turned the water wheel into a rock wheel. Not a rock wheeler, but a rocky wheel. You can see there's the water still going over the, trickling away there. It's not a bad location. They also had their garden down here for their fruit and veggies. But it's a beautiful lake. Have a look at that, Jack. We've got a ticket on a tram ride out of Pemberton. We're going to take a ride in a tram. We're in carriage number 4, which is this one here. So we'll be able to do that, hey? Also down here, they got a steam train. You don't get a ride in the steam train, but she's quite a magnificent old beast, isn't she?
Well, welcome to Pemberton and to the Pemberton Tram Company. Good to have you and try and make your trip enjoyable. A month and a half ago, all of this vacant area in front of us was stacked full of logs like those over at the back. They are getting through an enormous amount of timber at the present time. Now, they cut those trees that are stacked there were stockpiled before winter. That's why there were so many, because they try and get as many in before the winter rains come, because once the rains come, the forest is too wet, too boggy for the big logging trucks. Now, those trees that are remaining, they're starting to really bring the others in now to replace those, but they're only 65 to 85 years of age. They're young carry. They don't cut the big carry anymore, so they say, because of the no old growth logging policy. All the big heavy structural timber is cut this side of this red brick chimney, and that is the only remaining evidence, that chimney, of the old mill, because in 1930 a truck went through, a spark flew out, and the original mill built in 1913 was burnt to the ground. That's why this is one of the biggest and most modern mills in the southern hemisphere. That is the only remaining evidence of the old mill. That's where the big steam boilers were, because back then everything was driven by steam. Now this old timber right in front of us, on our right, that's the heavy structural timber that they cut. That is old stuff, just brought back in. That's what they use for bridges, support structures, pillars, pylons and so on. 60% of that structural timber goes to America and to the United Kingdom. The US, because they don't have much in the way of hardwoods, they have their oak and stuff, but not hardwoods. They love our jarrah carry and marry. The other goes to the United Kingdom, because there's a resurgence of the steam locomotive over there, and of all places in the world, they buy their structural timber here. Now those little houses on the left, there was a whole village of these. There were 150 of these little huts. They were the single men's quarters. the heyday of the mill, all the way down here to this house, which is my house, and I've parked the Bentley out the back, all right? Well, some people do believe me, please don't, but they're very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter. And as the single guys left, they pulled them down. That's all that's left of 150. Grey, very smooth bark. Now, they have only just about 3 months ago dropped their bark, and the new bark was a very deep salmon. You get an idea on the right now, the type of salmon. It was much deeper than that. They're in the shade, otherwise they would have reverted back like the other ones to the silvery grey bark. So they'll repeat that. You can still see it on the big one here, it's still getting left. But they drop their bark once a year, and then that's the process. The new bark, being a deep salmon, is quite beautiful actually when the sun sets on it. You think they were gold filled. But apart from dropping their bark once a year, they also take about 100 to 120 years to reach their height. That's why you can see just ahead of the tram and on the left and the right that they're very thin in diameter. That's because they concentrate on going straight up, and when they've almost reached their height, then they really start to fill out.
This is called the Cascade, Jack, and it's bloody beautiful, mate. We just got off the train for a little bit, and we're just walking here through a bit of the forest here, and he just blew his whistle, so we've got to go back. We've got a long wooden bridge here, reputed to be the longest wooden bridge within 300 metres of this area. And there it is there. And there's our accommodation down there. We have to climb underneath the bridge here. It's no bloody good, is it? Oh, we've got people wandering around everywhere. We're going to lose a couple on this trip. Just out of Pemberton, they got a thing called the Gloucester tree, which is a tree with a ladder up the side, and it goes right up there.
Well, yeah, it's not likely to fall down when you're on it. You know, it's a very slim chance it's ever going to fall when you're actually climbing on it. Considering the time it's been here.
We'll catch you later on. Thank you.
See you later.
Catch you. Hey, Jack. We're only halfway up. They got little spikes here that you're climbing up on, embedded in the trunk of the tree here, and it's wired to each other, and they got a little bit of netting out there, but the only thing you're stepping up on is these things here. Alright, we've got to go a bit further yet. You'll have to excuse the camera shaking a little bit. It's a little bit shaky up here. I'm on top of the Gloucester tree. I reckon it's 85 metres above the surrounding surrounding country. Bear's looking down, and I'll zoom in on the chappie you saw on the ladder before. That's him down there. Alright, so he made it back alright. Yes, all very good up here, all very good. They use these things here for fire spotting. They got another one over there called the King Tree. I don't think I was going to climb up the King Tree, but I don't think I will. This is enough for anybody, I think. Anyway, there's a couple of other people heading up. We might head back down again, I think. But yeah, all the ladders constructed on the. See, you're going down there. We've got a little ladder there, and then you got these things stuck in the tree trunk with a bit of wire wrapped around the end. Here comes another intrepid explorer up here. He doesn't realise it yet, but he's got another couple of. He's got another ladder to go after he gets up here. But we'll say hello when he gets up here, will we? What do you reckon?
How about that?
It's good, isn't it?
Worth it, hey?
Yeah.
Shit, that's awesome.
Well, we made it back down all right. We were way out there. All right. They got these pegs driven into the tree here, and you climb up on these. And they got a wire on the outside of the pegs with a little knot in it. You go all the way up there. Yes. So there we go. It's the Gloucester tree. Yeah, come on then. When you come. Oh, you want to go on top of my head now? Oh. You have to come down a little bit, I think. Is that pointing at you? Have an argument, go on. Have a bloody argument. Not as good as Macca's bread, is it? No, not as good as Port Lincoln late bake. Last bit. That's all. Bye-bye. We've left the Gloucester tree now, and we're on our way to Beetle Falls. It's in the regrowth Kerry forest in the Beetle Park. So it's called the Beetle Falls, and I think you can hear them already. Well, Jack, we got here. This is the Beetle Falls in the Beetle National Park, and we're standing. We're still standing. We're on a swing bridge here. Look, look, look. Oh, she's creaking. She's creaking, Jack. Why do we do it, Rex? Why do we do it, mate? And goes on down there. Oh dear, oh dear, she's still wobbling in the camera. She's still wobbling in the camera. If I drop the camera, that'll be the end of the show, won't it, eh? Yes, it's beautiful through here. And when you're looking at the trees, who should you meet?
G'day Jim, this is a marri tree. You should be over here at Pemberton, just like your brother is. It's about time you shut that office down and took a holiday and went up to Cape York.
And who are you?
Ian Phillips, I think.
Ian Phillips. Well, how you going, mate? How you going? You got the whole crew here. Hey!
There's Margaret.
They got the whole crew here. Look, look.
Ross, there's Betty. Oh, who you know me?
Jim.
G'day, Sue.
Sue.
Now, most of you people won't know who these people are, but there's someone out there who does. When I saw Ian Phillips back there at Bundy Up Falls, or whatever it's called, he said, DP, you've got to take a drive down the old Vassar Road. Well, this is the old Vassar Road, and he's right. It's original Kerry forest, what they call the old forest, not the regrowth. And this is more like it. You've got trees of all different sizes. You've got big trees, you've got little trees, you've got spindly little ones. Whereas in the regrowth, of course, they're all roughly the same age and the same size. You've got all different sizes here. We are on our way to the bicentennial tree, which is another tree you can climb, and I'm not going to climb this one, Jack. One's enough, isn't it, mate? One's enough. I reckon your wobbly old legs wouldn't have made it up the first one. We'll see how we go. You could prove me wrong on that, mate. You could prove me wrong. But you got to be very, very quiet through here. Trees. Oh, we've got the bicentennial tree here. We'll turn in here and have a look, eh? There's the Dave Evans bicentennial tree there. See the same thing, you got the spikes in the side. First level. Second level, third level, and there's the lookout right up there. Yes, Dave Evans bicentennial tree, and it's a long way down to the bottom. Had me confused there for a while because I knew there was a Dave Evans tree and I knew there was a bicentennial tree. I didn't realise they were both the same tree. And if you look carefully, you'll see someone very, very gingerly making his way down. Very careful with his stepping, very careful with locating your feet. So there we are. The Dave Evans bicentennial tree. Boom, down to the bottom. Good morning. The sound you hear is rain. It's about 3:30 in the morning. We camped just outside of Pemberton in one of the bush camping areas. And when I pulled up here, there was a caravan parked over there. And he had his generator running. It was nice about 7 o'clock. It was beautiful and quiet after he switched his generator off. Anyway, we're sitting here listening to the rain on the roof. Got the book here that I'm reading. Already finished one book. What was it? Lamberdell's autobiography. I've read that again. What have you got here, Ed? Great Australian Railway Stories by Swampy Marsh. We're reading that. How far we got? We're about a third the way in. I reckon we might finish that before we get home. Yes. So, as we listen to the rain tickling on the roof, all I can say is I'm glad I'm not sleeping in a tent. There's someone over there sleeping in a tent. That's going to be nice, isn't it? Driving back to Pemberton this morning. Yeah, just about rained all night. After about midnight it rained. Packed up this morning on our way. I noticed we're losing a lot of satellite reception on our GPS because of the wet trees. It's no good, is it? There's a place called Windy Harbour, Rex. It's not actually a beach or a harbour or anything. It's more like just a shack development. The shacks are just up here behind the first lot of dunes. We're just driving through what they call the Valley of the Giants. It's on the way to the treetop walk. Well, they've got a gantry up in the trees and we walk along it. This is old growth forest. And this is a mixture of kauri and what they call tingle trees. I don't know why they're called tingle trees, but they're called tingle trees. We're under great duress today, Jack. It's raining. This is the start of the treetop walk. And you'll be happy to know the intrepid explorer's bought himself a plastic bag to sit in while he walks up here. So we'll see how we go, eh? This is one of the only stands known or popular spot for the tingle tree. Tingle tree, one of the tall trees of the world. They're renowned for their big buttresses, and they live to a fair old age. And I'll give you a strong tip. This walkway up here gets a fair old swing up too. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Why do we do it, Rex? Why do we do it, mate? They're not bad, are they? There's on the sign here, Rex, that some of these larger tingle trees are over 400 years old. It's almost as old as old Rex. How you doing, Rex? How you keeping, mate? You still crackling on all right, are you, Rex? We're walking along here for you, Rex. In the rain. I think we're about 40 metres above the, might be 50. Might be 50 metres, what do you reckon? What do you reckon? Yeah, old girl, she gets a bit of a sway up, look at that. The man on the train ride out of Pemberton, remember him? On the tram? Well, he said the way you can tell an old growth forest is the, he called it staghorns. The real old trees, when they give up the ghost, they're still there, and with all the leaves and the top bits drop off, and of course other trees come up underneath. But it leaves them looking. He said it makes them look a bit ragged. That's the telling point of an old growth forest. You got the old trees still left standing, and the new ones are coming up underneath. Whereas a regrowth, they're all the same age, and they're all come up, and they're all nicely, looks like it's nicely trimmed at the top. And I think we're going to get the sun to come out in a minute. You never know your luck in a big city, do you? Yes, and I had a look at the sign there. It is 40 metres to the bottom. I'm not going to throw $50 over there, Jack. I haven't got enough money to spare, all right? And that's what we're walking along, Jack. Things like that, and they got the little thing underneath just to support it. But that's what we're standing on, and that's what we're walking around the trees tops on, Jack. All right. Very peaceful and quiet through here. And you get the smell like compost. And the rain from the previous shower just dripping down, dripping down. Very peaceful. What do you reckon, Jack? Any good, mate? They're a beautifully large tree. And my hat fell off. David liked that. I got a little walkway here where you can walk down on the forest floor. And one of the ones here, they've put a boardwalk, so here we are inside the buttress of a red tingle tree. It's quite large, you could fit 12 people in here. Mick could bring up 3 kids in here. There's a bear in there. Let's look through the round window. It's not bad. Not bloody bad at all, is it, Rex? Of course, they got one here that you walk all the way through. How's that? You like that? Another bit, mate. There you go. There you go. How's that, hey? Oh, now you want some. Bloody Nora. There you go, digger. There you go. How's that, hey? Is that any good? We're standing on Pirie Beach, just out of Denmark, Western Australia. It's not a bad view we got presented here, have we, Jack? Well, this is a little bit different from where we were last time. This is Green's Pool. And it's a bit of postcode, isn't it? I don't care what you say, Nick. It's bloody prettier than York Peninsula, mate. Yeah, I don't often do panoramas, but there you go, you get one there, Jack. Free of charge. Green's Pool, near Denmark. We'll be camping near Denmark tonight. Possibly in one of the caravan parks, you never know. Look at that. That's nice, isn't it, Jack? Sorry about the wind, mate, but you never know, you never know. You might hear it. You might hear it, mate. Beautiful. Your little boat would go good out there, wouldn't it, Jack? Stayed in the Riverbend Caravan Park last night in Denmark. Very small caravan park, still in the stages of setting up, I think. But very, very quiet, very, very quiet. It's sort of just like a farmer's property. You've got horses and sheep and that running around. Ducks. Jenny likes the ducks.
Prices that whale products were achieving, and so that was one of the problems that the company was facing at that time. They were having falling prices for their products. What else was happening was the fact that they were operating 3 whale chasers, the chains 2, 3 and 4. You have the, this is chains 4, and she's the largest of the whale chasers they were operating. All 3 of them were getting old and tired and in need of replacement. And in 1978, replacing these vessels was going to cost $6 million each. Now, with falling prices for their products and the cost of operating was rising as well, apart from the fact that these vessels needed replacing, their fuel oil costs had doubled in less than a year, and the numbers weren't looking good. So at that time in 1978, the 20th of November, they took their last whale. And And on the 21st, after processing that whale, they closed the gates. Having found whales, they would then get them as close as possible before the harpoon was fired. Now, when you look up there at the ship and you see that walkway that's going from the wheelhouse down to the harpoon, that was for the skipper. He fired the harpoon. It was his job always. He was the one who fired it. Partially because it's tradition for the skipper to fire the harpoon, but mostly because he's the bloke that was going to score a $2,000 fine if they took the wrong whale or the wrong size of whale. See, the International Whaling Commission granted them their licence to take whales, but they didn't just set the numbers. They set a size limit, an upper and a lower size limit for female and male whales. The cows and the bull whales and sperm whales are very different in size, and so they had a different set of limits on it. And from up there on the ship and also the spotter plane, they would have to estimate the size of the whale to make sure they were within the limits. And they became pretty good at it because they only had a 6-inch leeway. If they were more than 6 inches undersized on a whale when it was brought into the flensing deck, $2,000 fine for the skipper. I was telling you that the company closed down in 1978 and the 3 vessels along with the site were gifted to the JCs. This is the engine out of Chains 3. You know what happened to Chains 4 because she's sitting there. And of course that in itself was a long story about how she got put onto dry land. It was a big event. The Chains 3 had her engine carefully plucked out. I haven't a clue how they did that. How do you remove something as big and heavy as that? And the vessel that this engine was taken out of was sunk at the end of Michaelmas Island. When we come out here, you'll count there's an island with a round end on it. That's Michaelmas Island. And that's Chains 3 is sunk there. She's an artificial reef now and a dive wreck for anyone who wants to go brave the waters. The engine has been set up here as an exhibit. It now runs electrically. Originally it was a triple expansion, an oil-fired triple expansion steam engine, 1,800 horsepower, and could drive the vessel along at a top speed of 35 kilometres an hour. Now 35 kilometres or 17 knots is about the top speed a sperm whale could swim at when it was being chased. That's all she does. So that's just to show you that it works. But this engine could also take that vessel from 0 to 35 in under 5 minutes. And that's a pretty impressive pick-up time. So they were purpose-built whale chasers. They were all second-hand when they were acquired by the Chains Beach Whaling Company, and hence they were old and worn out by 1978, but they'd been quite impressive state-of-the-art type engines and vessels in their time.
Flens is a Norwegian word. It means cutting blubber from a whale or skin from a seal. The whale chaser, Chains 4, has delivered a 17-metre sperm whale bull to the station, which now has to be flensed. The flences are attaching ropes and a series of blocks to the dead whale's tail so that it can be winched up onto the deck.
Okay, Harry, take it away.
The steam-driven winch, which is at the top of the ramp to your left, hauls the massive carcass weighing some 50 tonnes up onto the flensing deck. Winch blocks on either side run the winch wire around to help the men position the whale on the wooden section. Now, the grisly, bloody process of removing the blubber from the carcass begins. Flensing a whale is usually done by 2 men using large, razor-sharp knives.
These are photographs taken while the station was in
Walk straight across the deck towards the silver hoist, which is known as a derrick, and stand next to it. It gets a bit messy and a bit dangerous up here. The whale's flippers are winched over to the derrick and hooked onto its boom. The ribs are then removed and fed into the cookers, which are located under this deck in the bottom factory. If you're facing the ocean, look towards the right-hand side, and can see 6. And one is open, with a guardrail around it. They'll be straight to the cookers, and the entire whale is eventually fed through. The rubber is dragged up here in strips as long as the whale, and wrapped pieces of cut and chopped into manageable sizes, which are then dragged by rubber hooks into the cookers. The Chains Beach Whaling Company will expect to produce around 7 tonnes of oil from the 50-tonne sperm whale that was flensed today. The oil is extracted from the blubber and also from the head of the sperm whale. Blubber is a whale's insulation against the freezing waters at the extreme depths that they dive. This great layer of fat keeps the heat of the whale's body in and prevents the blood from freezing. At the end of the digesting process, the contents of the cookers are passed into the settling tank on your right, where the oil is separated from a residue of solids such as bone. The oil is pumped to the massive storage tanks on this site, and the grax, which is the bottom layer of residue, is moved to the roller dryer behind you.
Properties of being able to do things other whales can't do. One of those is its ability to dive deeper than any other whale. It can dive to depths as deep as 3,000 metres below the surface of the ocean. That's as deep down as the Titanic rests on the bottom of the ocean. And it does that because it's particularly partial to eating giant squid. So when the sperm whale's got a bit of a hankering for a feed of giant squid, it breathes at the surface and then starts to dive. And it dives down at a speed of about 7 kilometres an hour, very steady. And when it gets down as deep as 1,000 metres or more, it begins its hunt. And it'll keep on going down in the hunt. And that's got to be below that sort of depth to find the giant squid. And it's trying to locate squid in complete darkness. Now, sperm whales don't have gentle songs like the humpback whale. They make clicks. They make clicking sounds. And what they're doing with that is they're doing an echolocation type thing because they can't see in the dark, so they're using their ears to see. And so when they locate themselves a squid in that way, they finally take hold of the squid in their mouth. You see there's no upper teeth, there's no chewing and chomping going on. They're not killing that squid as they get hold of it. They just take hold and start rising back up. And as it rises back up, the squid is dying. It's dying of the bends. It might have given a bit of a struggle in the beginning, and the whale will probably end up with sucker marks around its mouth and head, but that squid's long dead before it gets to the surface of the water. And even after the squid has died, the whale continues on up because it needs to breathe. It may have been down underwater for over 2 hours. The longest recorded time is 2 hours and 18 minutes. And when it gets to the surface, it breathes. Then it swallows the squid whole. Still no chewing and chomping, it just down the hatch. And so on the flensing deck, when they've cut open sperm whales, there's sometimes been undigested giant squid in their bellies. The largest one here was 12 metres long. And that's calamari rings like tractor tyres. These are 2 skeletons of toothless whales, of baleen whales. And these are some samples of baleen plates. These are just pieces. They would have been joined together once, but they've been well handled. You can't get replacements, of course. Now, I told you that humpback whaling stopped in 1963. Well, this is a humpback skeleton, and it was taken pre-1963 by the company. It would have been harpooned, and ordinarily the bones would have gone into the cooker, along with the meat and the blubber, exactly the same as it happened every other day with every other whale that they took. But this one was processed to be an exhibit.
Let's go aboard Shines 4, the whaling vessel. Let's go aboard and have a look. The second engineer's cabin. The engine room. Here's the captain's day room. go up on the captain, the wheelhouse. VK5 EDM, are you there, Ed? Oh, he doesn't hear me. When they sighted a whale, the captain used to come up here. The captain used to actually fire the harpoon because all the regulations involved. They had fines for capturing an undersized whale. He'd come down here. This is the business end of the boat. There's the harpoon gun. And I found out today, something I didn't find out before, that's an explosive head. And you got hooks to make sure it doesn't come out. And there's the rope. Yeah. They got the little trigger down here. They line him up. There we are, we're lined up with the fluke there. He's just about to dive. Boom. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So there we go. It shines forward. One of the last chase vessels used in whaling off of Albany, Western Australia. Another shower going through. We'll have to wait for a bit of clear skies to do more looking around, but we want to go and look at the blowholes and the gap around Albany. What do you think of the bloody whale museum? Or the whale chasing museum anyway? No one coming? Wasn't bad, was it, eh? Wasn't bad, wasn't too bad at all. There you are. Almost blue skies. We're at the blowholes out of Albany, Jack. And we're standing on a rock in a gale. Watching the Southern Ocean pound in here. See that? There she blows, Jack. There she blows, mate. It's very windy here today. I'll put the camera. There she goes again. So what do you reckon, Jack? Why do we do it, Rex? Why do we do it, mate? You know, I haven't got my bloody hat on. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's a wild day today. It's hard to walk in this wind. Hey, there she blows. It's a pretty wild day down here, Rex. The surf's coming in. It's just starting to drizzle with rain again. This is called the Gap, Jack. The waves come in here. They splash up there. You wouldn't want to come here on a calm day, would you, mate? Oh, she's running in here now, digger. Oh, the camera's getting covered in salt water, Jack. What do you reckon, mate? This is called the Natural Bridge. And I'm getting covered in salt water again. This is no good. You probably can't even hear me anyway. But the waves are splashing under the rocks there. I've got to go and stand on the middle there for you, Rex, but you don't think you're allowed to, mate. There's a wild and woolly coastline along here. I'm sheltered here behind the car. Just out of Albany is a wind farm. And it's quite windy today. Listen to her go. Not bad, is it? It's all good stuff along here. This is King George Sound near Albany. And I tell you what, this man next to me reckons there's whales out there, but don't believe him, mate. Don't believe him for one bloody second. That's where we were this morning over there at Whale World. We had a bit of a poke round over there, and we went around, had a look at the blowholes, got thoroughly covered in salt water. And it goes into Albany, up through there. And this man here reckons he spotted a whale. He saw it coming out the water, but I reckon it was a mermaid.
It might have been.
I reckon it had long blonde hair and fins.
If there was a mermaid out there with long blonde hair, mate, it would have stripped off and swum out to us.
There's people watching this who'll be laughing at that. We had a look at those wind farms, they're bloody big, and they tell you what, they're ripping around today.
Yeah, I find them fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people...
They reckon they're big enough to stand up inside those housings at the top, because I know someone who has done it.
Yeah, I can't remember all the figures now, but they certainly are big. They generate something like about 90% of our electricity.
What, for Albany?
Town, for the whole of Albany, yeah. And they're going to build a few more, half a dozen.
Man at Cape Llewellyn said it's the windiest place in Western Australia. You reckon that's bullshit?
That's bullshit.
You reckon it's here?
They haven't been to Geraldton.
Haven't been to Geraldton. Driving through Albany is a bit like driving through Adelaide.
100 metres into roundabout, then take first exit.
Oh dear, we're going to get in this lane here. Lucky it's not peak hour. A bit like driving through Fremantle too, wouldn't it, eh? On top of the hill, overlooking King George Sound, we got Princess Royal Fortress. These two guns were to stop the Russian invasion. Boom! Got the magazine lockers down here, and I think the main here we go. The main magazine locker was down here. Magazine bunker, more like it. They are ready to be fired, aren't they? Yes, and that had a view over King George Sound for the guns. Also on display here they got a gun off one of the ships. Let's go in and have a look. Mind your head. Oh, it even smells a bit like a ship. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. You can't even see what you're shooting at. Boom. Oh, this is your elevation there. That thing would turn. be pivoted around the bottom there. Somehow or other you get the shell in there. Boom. One of the other guns they had on the ship. Not bad, is it? Obviously the spent shells went down through there and out and chucked out in front of you. And as the clouds gather for more rain, it's all very good. See these guns up here. We bid a fond farewell to Princess Royal Fortress, Albany, or Albany, however you like to pronounce it, Western Australia. Good morning. We're just coming down into Mount Barker. We left Albany this morning and it's been raining a bit. I'm on one of the scenic lookouts here. There's a beautiful scene in front of us here with the Stirling Ranges, but it's a little bit windy. We've got a dirty, great big hill up here, and the clouds are just scooting over the top of us. Isn't that bloody beautiful? Bit quieter here down off the hilltops, isn't it? Just on the side of the road. There's a few pretty little flowers along here. The whole smell of this area is just like a florist shop. All these flowers here, just on the side of the road. Looks like a bit of the shrubbery was burnt out a while back. We've got a ruddy great big mountain in front. We've been driving through mountains all morning. Quite nice day. It's still drizzling with rain. Still got a little bit of rain coming down. It's a nice drive through here. A lot of the wildflowers are out. But there's still a lot of wind out there. There's a bit of wind in the car here too. Yeah, and it's been drizzling on and off all day. Along here there's a walk you can take to Bluff Knoll. We're not going to go all the way because it takes too bloody long. We're just going to have a walk along here and see what we come up with. You can hear the wind whistling over the top now. Been a few low clouds whistling over the top this morning when I first got here. We'll see what happens. Very impressive, isn't it? If you look closely into the centre of the screen, you'll see the Dowdy parked in the car park where we started from. We've climbed about as far as the old Intrepid Explorer's legs will carry him. I think the steep section starts from here. degrees out. That's bloody beautiful there, isn't it, eh? Pan the camera around. That's where you continue on up there. And then I think it goes up in there and then up and around on top. That's Bluff Knoll, Stirling Ranges National Park, West Australia. It's all going on here, eh? Bloody beautiful. I just got back down and a shower of rain went through and a bit of a low cloud come over the top of the mountain there. There's a few people up there, there was a few people in front of me. I got to about there, alright, but you couldn't see a dog's breakfast up there at the moment. We're heading away from the Stirling Ranges now and we're going to head for, where are we going to go? Bremer Bay! Bloody Bremer Bay! I've been on the phone for a bit. Have a look at this. See this? It's a Western Australia Holiday Parks Pass and it says valid till the 1st of September 08. The astute people amongst you will realise that I left Pirie on the 1st of September 08. So consequently I've been travelling all around Western Australia on an invalid ticket. Anyway, the ranger back there had a few words with me and I had a few words with him. Anyway, I rang up this little girl down at, I don't know where the hell she was, inquiries number for the Department of Environment and Conservation, and she said, you're right, Mr. Pallant, it's valid till the 1st of October. So I just scrabbled out September, I wrote October, but I gotta, she said, we better get you an official one. So I got a call in to the where is it? Department of Environment and Heritage and Conservation. 92 Dempster Street, Esperance. And she said she's faxed the office and they're expecting me to come in. Well, gung-ho, we're all... oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We're bloody Bremer Bay, we're going bloody Bremer Bay. There's the wind generator of Bremer Bay. Bremer Bay's in behind there, down there. There's a few houses around there. We're in the caravan park about there somewhere. But I'll just take you and show you over the other side. This is looking the other way. Goes comes around. That's Point Henry out there. What do you reckon, Jim? Location, location, location. Short Beach on Point Henry. This is another one of those beaches with squeaky sand. This is called Little Boat Harbour. And it's right near the end. The end of Point Henry is just about there. We pan around, and you can tell we're open to the ocean on the other side because there's some waves pounding in over there. So there we are. Little harbour. The very end of Point Henry. Near Bremer Bay. We're staying at Bremer Bay tonight. Good night from me, and it's good night from him. Good night. Good morning, good morning. It's another day. It's not raining yet, but it looks as if there might be some rain out there later on. We're heading for, where we going? Hopetown. Hopetown, which is on its way to Esperance. And I've been thinking while I've been away on this trip, I'm thinking when I get to Esperance I'm almost home, but oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, even when you get to Esperance it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Just entering Fitzgerald River National Park, and what a nice scene there. We've got a lot of the flowers here. A lot of the flowers are out. I haven't seen these purple ones before. Yes. Very nice drive along here in the morning. A lot of the little wildflowers are out. And, everything's all looking tickety-boo. I've been meaning to show you these for a fair while. I've been waiting for a good stand of them. These are called the Royal Hakea, and they're very impressive. Very, very prickly. Very, very prickly. Just got other little things here. Oh, I said they're prickly, didn't I? Isn't that bloody beautiful? We're at a place called Hammersley Inlet. It's just a little inlet off the Great Australian Bight, and it goes into a little bay here. They've got a little reserve down here called Hammersley Reserve. Yeah, all very good, all very good. We got the typical paperbarky alley here along the foreshore, and yes, Hammersley, what's it called? Hammersley Inlet. Got a nice picture of them hills over there, haven't we? And the sun's come out. It hasn't rained today. Which is a bit of a blessing, isn't it? Because the last couple of mornings I've had to battle with the rain. It's good to have a nice fine day. But listening to the weatherman this morning, he said there's a bit more on the way. Esperance, and that's where we're going to be tomorrow, is Esperance. Got a bit of a windy road through here, isn't it, Rex? Does it do you good down here, mate? You can bring the missus to the camping ground there, see that? See? I reckon there's a camping ground there. But they don't like telling you these things before you get here. They like you to get here au naturel without knowing what the bloody hell you're going to do, but I suppose the locals know what the go is, don't they? Look, that camping spot back there is not even marked on the bloody map they give you. It's not a bad view, is it, Rex? That's looking down towards Hopetown. Hopetown's just down there. Seems every little town around here's got their own bloody wind generator, haven't they? Yes. Where is it? Oh, it's just up there. See it up there? Bloody Bremer Bay had their own wind generator too. I'm sitting here at the end of the breakwater in Hopetoun. What did I say before? Hopetown. Well, it's not Hopetown, it's bloody Hopetoun. And this is not a food recommendation, but I've got a potato pie. It's called a potato pie because they put a bit of potato on top of the pie. Yeah, we're on the end of the breakwater. It's very nice. Very pretty place. I'll just show you a bit around. Where are we going tonight? Stokes Bay. Yes. The rest of Hopetoun is up there. It's a bigger town than what it looks. It's actually, there's a bit of it over there. It's a little bit bigger than Bremer Bay. Bremer Bay was a bit of a shack area, I reckon. What they call over there? What they call that? Bald Hill or something. It's a big rock. And these big rocks and those ranges over there. See the ranges over there in the well, behind the sign anyway. Disappearing in the fog and mist. Got a bit of fog and mist. Always gives me a giggle because I remember that line about the newlywed couple went out in the fog and mist. Got the little jetty here, and we've got a breakwater here. And if my eyes don't deceive me, I can climb up here. And this is where we're, because we're going that way in a minute after I finish lunch. But yeah, there's a few little outcrops out here for your boat, little boat there, Jack. All right, few little outcrops. As a matter of fact, there's little reefs all along here, and this is what stops Australia from getting eaten away from the south. The man, where was he? I'm sure he was somewhere. I think it was a bloody Cape Llewellyn Light. Yeah, the man at the Cape Llewellyn Light said Australia is actually moving westwards. It's listening to Macca. Because he said the eastern coast of Australia is getting eroded, whereas the western coast of Australia is actually getting built up with sand. It's actually growing. And as we sit here and talk, the sun comes out. It's bloody nice, isn't it? So, most of Australia is actually doing what Macca says, going west. I went in to see the man in the police station. I said, g'day. I said, what's the road like we're doing here in Stokes Bay? He said, well, he said, you got bitumen out to the 12 mile. And it made me crack a light little grin. I thought, oh, well, we know all about that, don't we? Old Mick will tell you that. How far is it around the 90 mile? Well, I don't know. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, so he said it's bitumen out to the 12 mile. I had a look on the map. It's called the 12 mile beach out here. I wonder how long that is. And he said you shouldn't have any trouble from there on in. I said, what about the shortcut up to Balladonia? He said, oh, we had a bit too much rain for that. We just had a look at the signpost there. We're following the coast, and the signpost directed you in, and it said the 5 mile. So this beach is called the 12 mile, and that little section's called the 5 mile, and I suppose there's a section up here called the 7 mile. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I think Australia's running out of names. I think we're running out of names, mate. I don't know whether you can see this, but the GPS tells me I'm in deep shit here if this road stops. We got water on the left of us. We got water on the right of us. Oh, hey, hell, I hope this little tongue of land keeps going. Having a bit of trouble finding a spot for the night. I was going to camp at Stokes Bay. They're closed. No camping. I was going to come into a caravan park in Esperance. Called into the visitor centre. They're closed. Went into the Department of Environment and Heritage to try and get me pass updated. They're closed. Hunted around, I found a couple of caravan parks. They're all right in the centre of town and they're all right next to roads and that. They're all jammed up against one another. So anyway, we're a bit late tonight. It's about 4:10. We're heading out to Cape LeGrand. I was going to go out to what's the other spot called? Lucky Bay campground. It's a Saturday night over here. We'll try for Cape LeGrand and we'll see how we go. We'll get in there and we'll see how we go. I think Cape LeGrand is a little less popular than Lucky Bay, so I think Lucky Bay might have a few people in it. Try Cape LeGrand and we'll see how we go. Well, I'm back here, Jack. A few years later. Haven't had a shave today for the camera either. We're at Cape LeGrand Beach and the sun's just going down. I'll just pan it around for you, Jack. Have a look at that, mate. That's not bloody bad, is it, Digger? There's the sunset at Cape LeGrand again, Jack. And we'll just leave it on the waves for a little bit because it's absolutely bloody magnificent, isn't it, mate?
There's a vintage tractor pull on today in Metcalfe.
Yeah, beautiful campsite there at LeGrand.
Love to be there.
It's only small, it's only little.
Blessing of the feet blessing of the feet, I said that last week. Blessing of the feet. I think feet need to be blessed actually, but this is the blessing of the fleet in robe.
When Flinders was along this coast, he needed to do some repairs on his little his boat, the Investigator, and he just by chance came upon a bay, and he came in through here, and this spot, or this bay, is called Lucky Bay because he was lucky to find it. There's not many bays along this coast, or not many safe anchorages, so he found Lucky Bay and he named it Lucky Bay. We've got a campground just up there behind there, but it's full of campers being a Saturday night. Yes, I knew it'd be full of campers, so that's why I camped down at LeGrand. It's a much quieter little spot. Not bad coastline along here. You see various little bays and that. It's called Thistle Bay, I think. Thistle Cove or Thistle Bay there. Obviously a reference back to the Investigator again. Yes. We've got a little hill up here called Frenchman's Hat. Looks like he's wearing a little beret, that's why they call it Frenchman's Hat. From the end of the dirt road is a four-wheel drive track out to Cape Arid. I thought, oh, I won't worry about it, then I thought, oh, I'll give it a go. And in the end I thought, it's too remote to go stuffing around, and so we'll turn around and we'll head back and we'll go in and have a look at another bit of Cape Arid. We're going to go out to Israelite Bay, where the cliffs begin, the Nullarbor Cliffs. I'm standing at a place called Poison Creek in Cape Arid National Park. That's actually Poison Creek there, and we've come to the end of the track here because this is where the track goes, around there and out into the ocean and disappears. That's fairly remote region here. That's the sea out there. This is Poison Creek here, and the track ends at Poison Creek. It's very windy out there today. You can see the bushes moving. Most of the tracks in the Cape Arid National Park, the good tracks, are like this, and they're absolutely beautiful. There's no corrugations or anything. And just down the road a bit, near the edge of the park there, we got bitumen. So the roads aren't too bad. It's only the little four-wheel drive tracks, the places that have got those sandy bits and those watery bits. Yeah, you've got beautiful bush all through here. A lot of the Banksias are out. I think they're Banksias, or they're Waratahs or something, those things there. And forming there, there's been a bit of a fire through here, and a lot of them have got seed pods ready to drop. But the rest of the little flowers and that everywhere, and little birdies, it really is a garden out here. Pity the day wasn't a little bit brighter, eh? Why am I not surprised? It's raining again, and we're just coming down into Esperance, and it's raining again. Geez, a rough old day on the tourist drive today, Jack. We'll just pull in and we'll have a look. It's a very windy and wild day. Look, Ollie's is even shut, mate. I can't get me fish and chips. Oh, we can't step outside the car this time, Jack. She's a little bit rough. This is from a spot called Observatory Point, Jack, and I'm just huddled down here behind a bush. Just showing you the seascape that's out here. She's a little bit rough today, mate. A little bit rough. She's even blowing around the car a bit. When I said I was going to Esperance, Jack said, "Are you going to have another bit of fish on the wharf here at Esperance?" And I said, "Oh, we'll try to do it." Well, Ollie's was shut, but how, Jack? Oh, it's hot. Ollie's was shut, Jack. It's been a prick of a day today. Look, still raining. We got oh, it's hot. Nick's having a giggle now, ain't you, mate? There's a severe weather warning out for Esperance today, as you realise. And We took a drive out to Cape Arran. Thank God we didn't camp out there amongst the sticks and where it makes that dirty. You see that ruddy road we was on? That sandy road? Be good in this, wouldn't it? Look good. But all of the roads out there were shut. Don't know why that is. We've had a bit of rain up here. Anyway, there it is for you, Jack. Bit of fish. Not from Ollie's this time. It's from the fish and chip shop in Dempsey Street. And it's very, very hot. It's not a food recommendation, alright? What is the food recommendation? I've forgotten. No, that's prawns and squid rings on the wharf at Fremantle. Admittedly, it costs a bit more than these fish and chips, but you only got a little thing of prawns and squid. I think they only gave you 5 bloody prawns. Very upmarket here. Anyway, when I was eating that me prawn and me thing, I had to leave my little finger up like that. See? That adds another $10. And we got another beautiful seaside sunrise. Still hear the surf running in the background this morning. Had a fair amount of rain last night. That's pretty, isn't it, Jack? Anyway, we'll get going this morning. Anyway, we're just below where I was camped. Just above where I was camped. I'm sitting there down below here. We'll get going. We've left Esperance now. Finally got away from the place. Yeah, I thought I'd call in on the way out. One of the places is just opening up, one of the Bridgestone. I thought, well, my wheels have been shimmying a bit, so I thought, I'll get a wheel balance. So I went in there and got a wheel balance. He said, oh, no, wheels out of balance, mate. Your bearings are loose. Oh, I thought, oh. Anyway, so I found a mechanic. I went in there and said, you tighten up my bearings? He said, yeah, all right. So he tightened them up. And I said, do you sell Valvoline oil? I normally use Mobil, but I've got a bit of Valvoline in there, and I had another 5 litres of Valvoline in the back. So, yeah. Wants to change the oil for you? Well, if you would, yeah, it'd be great. I need an oil change by the time I get back, so if I do one now, I'll be right. What is it? Darren's A1 Auto in Esperance. Good bloke. So we did that. I'm on my way. We're coming down into, we're going to Norseman. And then we're going to have dinner in Norseman. That'll be exciting, won't it? On the highway here between Baladonia and Kaguna is the, what they call the 90-mile straight, 146.6 kilometres of straight road. We don't need to steer the Dowdy anymore. So, oh, we got here, you can have a look at this, if you can read it. It's a message from Aidan he sent me the other day. Yes. All very good, all very good. But of course the mobile phones don't work out here. There's not a lot of things that work out here, including radio stations. So there's only one thing for it. We just have to sit back, put on a bit of Tony Hancock, and drive for an hour and a half on a bit of straight road. It's well past my camping time, but you'd recognise, Jim, this is the way into Camp Cocklebiddy. I've That turn off is really, really hard to spot, Jim. It's really hard to spot. Especially in the fading light. It's getting very difficult to know where to negotiate around in here either. Yeah, it's getting hard to work your way in here, Jim, but oh, looks like someone's been here and had a campfire since we was here. We've got a new spot now. We go down here. We're camping down here. There's the holes I dug when I was here before. Anyway, as the sun sets over there, we must put on our hat. We bid you good night for tonight. Been a long day. Come all the way from Cape Le Grand to Camp Cocklebiddy, and spent 2 hours in Esperance. Yes, I'm very tired tonight. Very tired. Well, good morning. No, what is it? Good afternoon. We just passed through the South Australian, West Australian border. Old little boatie there had a bit of a hissy fit. He wanted to go back home, but little boatie's got to go to Port Pirie. He's got to go to Port Pirie. We're going along quite well today. It's quite boring going along here, visiting all the roadhouses. Price of fuel's gone up since I went through, about 20 cents a litre. We haven't got much on, not much on yesterday, not much on today. We got the Bundy Cliffs coming up here soon, and we'll have a look at that. And, we might go and have a look at the whales too, eh? That is a nice view, isn't it, Jack? Absolutely bloody magnificent. Yes, yes. And you know what's coming, don't you, Jack? Just looking for a rock here. I got myself here a $50 note, Jack. We'll keep on camera. We'll put our $50 note around like that. We're watching Jack. And we'll just throw it over the edge. Just like that. Very nice, isn't it? Very nice. Anyway, so you'd like to come down here, Jack. You can get $50 off the Great Australian Bite. Actually, there's $100 there now. Or was it 20 I threw off before? I don't know. You'll have to rewind the tape and have a look. There's been too much in between then and now for me, for my poor old head. It's getting a bit hard to take it in. Like I said, the only thing of interest today is the cliffs and the whales and that. We're just taking a long drive along a very normal sort of road. A few caravans here at the head of the bight today. A lot of swell from the weather we had last week here, Jack. We've got a few whales out here. We've got one down here just lounging around. Fairly heavy surf running in here today. here. You got a little one next to him, see that? We're actually getting a bit of salt water up here on the camera here. Another mother and the calf just playing around there in the surf. Yes, there's about 3 or 4 whales here today, lolling about in the surf. At the Bunya Cliffs, the Bundy Cliffs, whatever they're called, I think it's Bunda Cliffs. Head of the Bight, near Geraldton, South Australia. Good morning. Just listening to the goons. Had a nice sleep last night. Camped at Camp Geraldton. On our way early this morning, driving into the sun, Mako, which is no bloody good, is it, eh? Yeah, we're heading into Sejuna, and we're going to have a long drive home today. So nothing much is going to happen today, so I might as well put the goons back on, eh? Forget me nuts. I remember when he was driving along here coming out of Sejuna, I said it was a bit daunting having to drive all the way over to Western Australia and then all the way back again. Well, it's a bloody long way. All you seem to do all day is drive, drive, drive. Stop the night, then drive, drive, drive. It's a bloody long way. We've done around about, we'll do around about 10,200 Ks by the time we get home. We will have consumed around about 1,200 litres of diesel. And with me 2 oil changes, that's bloody 22 litres of oil too. All adds up, doesn't it? Yeah, all adds up. Yeah, it's very daunting crossing the Nullarbor. There's, after you've seen it a few times, there's not a lot of surprises. There's not a lot of surprises. tuna. And we're coming up to the fruit fly man here. He's going to frisk me down for maggots. Me and Bodie would like to thank you for watching the video west. Yes, we had a good run, didn't we, old Bodie, eh? Yes, always amazes me the spectrum of camping. We had at Cervantes, I pulled in and a caravan pulled in next to me, and he was too big for the normal campsite, so he was out the back with me. He had little slide out things and generators and everything. And then I was at a place called Yalgarup out in the sticks. Jacob pulled in and I said, "How do you sleep the night?" And he said, "Oh, I got a swag." Well, it rained during the night, and I went across and saw him next morning, and there he was. His swag was on the ground, and he moved the table over the head part of his swag to keep his head dry. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. Me and Bodie hope you enjoy the video anyway. And we'll catch you next time when we're on the road, eh?